The Indiana Hoosiers can beat the Auburn Tigers on Saturday.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you making Locked On Hoosiers your first listen each and every day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I appreciate you all, the everydayers out there. You are rolling in. We are growing like crazy, and you are the reason why. So thank you so much for tuning in and, of course, making Locked On Hoosiers your first listen each and every day. If you're on YouTube, like the video, be sure you subscribe to the channel. We are growing so close to 1,500 subscribers, and I would love to get there by the turn of the new year. So be sure you do that if you're on your podcasting platform. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Indiana basketball can beat the Auburn Tigers on Saturday in Atlanta for the Holiday Hoopsgiving event. And on today's show, I'm going to tell you why. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks is daily fantasy sports made easy. Indiana taking on Auburn in Atlanta for the Holiday Hoopsgiving event. And this one's going to be fun, folks. I'm excited for this. This is probably the second biggest game of the year for Indiana so far this season. I think that's very safe to say when it comes to level of competition and just the excitement around this game and the type of win this would be for Indiana. This would be a quad one win. This is an Auburn team that I think is going to probably work their way into the top 25 throughout this season. And if Indiana can get this win, that would be a huge resume boost for this squad. And guess what? I think they can do it. I really do. I think we have a chance in this game to prove some people wrong. I think we have a chance to prove some Indiana fans wrong here and go out and get a big win over the Auburn Tigers. You look at what Indiana's done up to this point, right? They started out 3-0. You get beat pretty good by UConn. And then you've bounced back since then with 4 nice wins: Louisville, Harvard, Maryland, and Michigan. And while those 4 teams may not be the epitome and the top level of college basketball, those were still good wins. And I hate people trying to take anything away from that win on the road at Michigan the other night. I can't fathom people not being happy with a road conference win. Pretty ugly, mediocre, whatever. I just can't get over that fact, but that's for another day. You have a confident basketball team that is playing Auburn on Saturday, tomorrow, right? This is a winnable game for Indiana. You're playing on ESPN. You're playing in Atlanta, down where the Atlanta Hawks play at State Farm Arena. And I like how Indiana matches up with this team, man. I think Indiana is a bigger team than Auburn. I think they're a more physical team than Auburn. And coming into this game, neither one of these teams shoots the ball very well when you look at the team stats. I mean, these teams are just not shooting the ball all that well. Indiana, believe it or not, they shoot 50% because of all their inside baskets with Kel'el Ware and Malik Renew and now Mackenzie Mbako as well. Auburn's just shooting 44% on the year. And while they're averaging a few more points than you, what have they really done this season when you look at their resume? They had that opening game against Baylor where they lost it by 4. They turned around and got on a little win streak against Southeastern Louisiana. Okay. They beat a bad Notre Dame team. St. Bonaventure, which is normally a decent tournament team. Alabama A&M, Virginia Tech when they played them in the SEC ACC Challenge, but that's probably one of the lowest teams in the ACC. And they're coming off a road loss at Appalachian State, which that's not an easy place to play. And I don't really know why Auburn decided that was a good idea to go and play that game on a Sunday afternoon. But whatever, they did. I guess Coach Pearl down there decided to try it out, and it didn't work out for them. They lose that game 69-64. This is the game Auburn's coming off of when they take on Indiana on Saturday. Are you ready for some of these numbers? They're not pretty. Okay, they're not pretty, and this should give Indiana fans some hope and some confidence going into this thing. Auburn shot 39% in this game. 3 of 27 from downtown. That's good for 11%. 11. One more than 10. 11% from downtown. And just 9 of 19 from the free throw line. They're a good rebounding team. They got 48 in that game, but they were better than Appalachian State size-wise. But yet, they shot so poorly that App State was able to get the upset and rush the floor against an unranked Auburn team. And so I take this into consideration and I start comparing Indiana and Auburn here. And what do we know about Indiana's defense? Indiana defensively gives up a lot of shots, and they've given up a lot of threes this season. But here's my take on this. If Auburn's shooting so bad, and you look at the games before, they haven't been shooting well down this couple of game stretch here. If you're Indiana, do you let them shoot? Do you just do your thing and say, look, shoot if you want. You obviously can't make them right now. I don't necessarily like that mentality because I think, like I've said before on this show, if you give a team enough chances and enough open looks, they're going to knock them down, okay? They're going to get hot, and they're going to knock them down. And this Auburn team has some shooters. And I'd prefer not to just give them open looks and say, beat us if you can, because I think Indiana's gotten better defensively as well. But overall, Indiana can win this game, folks. I think they match up really well size-wise. I think they match up really well experience-wise. I think they have match up really well coaching-wise. I think this is one of the best coaching matchups you're going to get all season long. You get the reputation tarnished Bruce Pearl versus the new guy in Indiana, Mike Woodson, the legendary Mike Woodson and the legendary Bruce Pearl. Let's be honest. He's been all over the place in college basketball. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be there. And I think there's going to be a lot of you there as well. There's a lot of Indiana fans that are going to travel for this game. It's on a Saturday, early afternoon down there in Atlanta. It's a 2-game set, right, for the Holiday Hoopsgiving. If you have a chance to go, you should. This should be one of the better games Indiana's a part of this season. And I really do think the Hoosiers have a chance to win this thing and get a resume-building win over the Auburn Tigers, who will be a top 25 team, who will be competing for their conference. And I think Indiana can win this basketball game. When we come back, we'll talk about why Indiana can win, some of the matchups that Indiana and you need to look out for, plus what this win would mean moving forward for Indiana and how this could really propel them in a confidence standpoint. All that coming up here on Locked On Hoosiers in just a second. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They're the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. I've told you my winnings and what I like to do on Prize Picks. Man, I combine NBA, NHL. I'll throw some field goal props in there as well. It's a lot of fun on Prize Picks. They do all sorts of promos and different contests and everything. You've got to go check out Prize Picks. They're the #1 daily fantasy sports app for a reason. Testing my skills on Prize Picks this season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Prize Picks is really simple to play. I can make my picks and submit them in under 60 seconds. It's that easy. That's all you do. You click 2 or 3 things and you're in and you're done, and you just watch the winnings roll in. Go to prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege and use code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege and use that code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks is daily fantasy sports made easy. Well, what are some of the matchups that we need to look out for in this Indiana-Auburn matchup? How can Indiana win this basketball game? Well, the matchup that everybody is going to be talking about, it will be the best matchup of the game. It's the matchup of the bigs. You have Kel'el Ware for Indiana, who is playing early on this season as an all Big Ten level guy. I believe that. I truly believe that. I think he's playing at an all Big Ten high level right now, the walking double-double himself, versus another walking double-double in Johni Broome for the Auburn Tigers. Johni Broome is a guy that tested the NBA draft waters last year and dang near made it. I mean, he was close to making the NBA draft last year, and it's a guy that plans on making the NBA after this season. And when you compare the two, it's the two leading scorers for both teams. He had a 30-piece earlier this season, did Johni Broome. He's averaging 18 points a game compared to Kel'el Ware's 17. Kel'el Ware shoots 64% to Johni Broome's 57. And their free throw percentage, that's where Indiana can take advantage here. Kel'el Ware shoots 68%. I'll take it for a center. I'll take it for a big man compared to what Johni Broome is doing at just 51%. His last game, that loss against App State, he went 1 for 7. Do I smell a hack-a-shack here? Do I smell an opportunity for Indiana to test out the shooting skills of this Auburn basketball team? Why not? The guy can't shoot free throws. 51% is terrible. That is terrible. And coming off a bad performance on the road, why not try to make him make up for that? Put him on the line. If you're anybody on this team, I'd prefer it not be Kel'el Ware and get him in foul trouble. But if you're one of the bench players or even another guard or something like that, if you're a Peyton Sparks, right? If you're an Anthony Walker and you get matched up somehow with Johni Broome down low on a mismatch, hack him. Hack a Shaq, hack a Broome, right? Break that sucker in half and put him on the free throw line and make him beat you at his weakest spot, which is at the charity stripe. You're going to see these two guys go at it on the glass. They both average over 9 rebounds a game, both on the defensive and the offensive end. I wonder if there's an offset here, right? Because I think both guys are going to get theirs, but do they get it like they normally do because they have somebody just as good as them on the other side? I don't know. You've got to be excited for that matchup. You really, really do. It's two big men who are playing at an all-conference level, one from the SEC and one from the Big Ten. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Here's where some of the matchups start to get interesting. Is Xavier Johnson healthy? Does he play in this game? We saw him on the road at Michigan on Tuesday, dressed out in street clothes and wearing a boot. I don't know. I don't know. I think they're going to need him. I think Indiana needs him bad because the point guard on the other side, there's two of them for Auburn, and one of them is Aden Holloway. And I'm sure a lot of you, just being basketball fans, know this guy. You know the name. Man, just go watch his film. The guy's a superstar. He's going to be a one-and-done college player, I can tell you that. He's not going to be in college long. That guy can flat out play, but he hasn't been shooting very well. And so can Xavier Johnson shut him down? Or even if he doesn't play, we just saw Gabe Cupps have a great defensive game. That gives me a ton of confidence playing a guy like Aden Holloway if Gabe Cupps is in there, or Trey Galloway, or even CJ Gunn, a guy we've talked about a couple of times this week. I think Auburn can throw some guards in Indiana, but I think our Hoosiers can match up extremely well with them, especially with the size. I think Auburn, they can't get to the size of Indiana. I think Indiana's size at the guard spot matches up extremely well. I think they're better at the guard spot, size-wise and defensively. My worry is on the offensive side. And I know Indiana goes inside a lot with Kel'el Ware and Malik Renew and Mackenzie Mbako as well. But I think your guards got to score a little bit here. And this could be a very fast game. Did you notice Indiana push the pace the other night? Did you notice them push the pace a little bit against Michigan? Something we haven't seen a whole lot of this year. I liked it. I loved it. And Indiana was winning in those stretches. And if you've watched any of Auburn basketball, whether in the tournament or whatever, or any Bruce Pearl team really, they are going to run. So Indiana better be ready. But the thing that the Hoosiers have that Auburn doesn't throughout the entire lineup is the length. I think the Hoosiers match up and have great length advantage here over Auburn. If the Hoosiers can crash the glass, if the Hoosiers can make their shots, get it inside, stay out of foul trouble. Oh my goodness. This could be an ugly game on both sides. The officials are going to have their whistles ready to go in this one because there are going to be a lot of fouls here. Auburn, I think, has a couple of guys that are a little lengthy themselves and get into some foul trouble at times. They've got a couple of guys, Chad Baker Mazzara and Johni Johnson, who play quite a bit and have anywhere from 17 to 20 minutes there. So Indiana's going to have their difficulties, but I don't know. I have a weird confidence about this game. I don't know. I have a weird feeling that the Hoosiers are going to travel. They're going to play well. And man, if they can knock down some shots and some free throws, Auburn wants to score in the 80s and Indiana's cool with scoring in the 60s. So which one comes out, right? Which version of the game comes out? Because Indiana can't run with them and score 100 points. They just can't do it. They don't have the guys. They don't have the shooting to do it, right? But if this is a 50-50 game or a 55-55 game with, 6 minutes to go, Indiana's done their job. They have done their job to a T. And even if you lose this game, how do you look, right? You have all the momentum here. You have all the confidence coming off of this win streak and a big win on the road. You're coming off a win off the road. They're coming off a loss off the road. I like the Hoosiers in this game. I do. And what a win this would be. Moving forward, we're still in that 4-game stretch. And we'll talk about what that win will mean coming up on Locked On Hoosiers in just a second. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you are burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. That's ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Well, when Indiana gets this upset win on Saturday against the Auburn Tigers in Atlanta for the Holiday Hoopsgiving, what does that mean? What does this mean for the Hoosiers when they get this win? Well, this is your best win of the season. This would be your best win by far of the season over a team that, again, I think is going to be in the top 25 for most of the year. I think it's going to be a team that is competing to win the SEC and a team that could make a run in the NCAA tournament. And if the Hoosiers get this win, this will be a win they carry with them throughout the season, all the way to Selection Sunday. And you look at the updated net rankings, Auburn's 33rd in the country. That includes that loss to App State. That includes that loss to Baylor. So that would be their best win, and it really wouldn't even be close compared to the other games and the other teams that Indiana has played this year. And I think there's a lot riding on this. I really do. I think there is a factor of you have to travel quite a bit, right? You have to travel pretty far compared to what Auburn is. They're a short plane ride over to Atlanta, and you have to take a full plane ride over there. And unless Indiana fans just all hop on a massive commercial plane and get down there, there's a good chance that you are going to be outnumbered as an Indiana fan compared to what Auburn's going to bring over, because it's just a quicker trip, right? It's a shorter trip for them versus Indiana. But I expect there to be a heavy dosage of Indiana fans there. And so is this a road game for the Hoosiers, or is this a true neutral site game? We're going to find out. We're going to see. And that's the good thing. At least it's neutral site, right? At least you're not having to go on the road to Auburn. It'd be awesome if they could come to Bloomington, right? If they could come and play here at Assembly Hall, but that's unfortunately not going to happen. You have that coming up next week, though, with Kansas, so that'll be a lot of fun. But I think those are all factors here. And can Indiana not turn the ball over, right? They did that so many times against Michigan. Clean basketball, good coaching from Mike Woodson from start to finish, right? He coached a really good game in that second half. I wasn't pleased with the first half all that much against Michigan, but that second half, he really showed his IQ and showed his skill level as a coach. And you're going to get Bruce Pearl's best. You're going to get Auburn's best shot here. But I think Indiana, if they're playing at their best, can win this game. Pound the paint, get inside. You have multiple guys that can score. With Kel'el Ware, if he gets shut down, cool. You've got Malik Reneau. I said he was going to be an X factor in the Michigan game. It may have taken him 35 minutes to do it, but he was, right? What about Mackenzie Mbako? What happens if he has the career game, which I think he can? I think he's better than those guys. I think his shot is beautiful. Put the ball on the floor. Put your head down and get to the rack, man. You made 2 clutch free throws against Michigan. Your confidence should be at an all-time high. And the bench has to play well. Auburn plays a deep bench, but so does Indiana. Indiana plays one of the deepest benches in the country. Those guys have to show up again, especially if Xavier Johnson doesn't play here. CJ Gunn, I'm looking at you. Anthony Walker, I'm looking at you. Sparks, I'm looking at you. And then I hope that Gabe Cupps plays well, whether he's a starter for Xavier Johnson or coming off the bench. That's where this game will be won and lost, is the guard play on both sides. Because like I said, Kel'el Ware is going to get his. I don't care who's guarding him. He's going to get his. Kel'el Ware is too good. He's too good not to get at least 15 and 8 in this game. And look, this may be a chance. This may be an opportunity for Indiana to not rely on him so heavily. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing if Kel'el Ware doesn't have to go off for 30 points for you to win a basketball game. Somebody else do it. Malik Reneau, go off for 20. Mackenzie Mbako, go off for 20. Trey Galloway, go off for 15. Anthony Walker, CJ Gunn, somebody. This has to be a joint effort here. This cannot be won by one player. And that will be especially true next weekend when Kansas comes to Bloomington. The Hoosiers have to start finding ways to win with more than one player. I think they've done that well. I think they've done that pretty consistently. And I'm excited to see how this game goes. You've got great matchups all over the place. You have high-level basketball. It's going to be fast. It's going to be physical. It's going to be fun. I don't see either team winning in a blowout. I think this is a close game for 40 minutes. I think this is a game that could go either way. And I've already told you. I've just told you the reasons why Indiana can win this thing. Defense, guard play, and Kel'el Ware winning his matchup, and the bench being better than theirs, and the coaching being better than theirs. I'm taking Indiana in this game. I am. I'm taking the Hoosiers in this game, man. I think they can win. And oh my gosh, could you imagine what this is going to do You win this game, that 4-game stretch we talked about, I said 3-1. This would make you 3-0. I think you have a better chance to win this game than you do next week against Kansas. I think I've changed my mind on that. I know. But with the way I've looked at their schedule for Auburn and see how they're playing compared to what Indiana's doing right now, compared to what Kansas is doing right now, this is your time. This is your chance to get that third win in this 4-game stretch. And I think the Hoosiers do it in Atlanta for the Holiday Hoopsgiving. Who cares about hoops giving? How about hoops taking? Take a win from Auburn, because you're not supposed to win this game. If you're Indiana, you will be the underdog. I haven't seen a spread come out for this yet, but you will be the underdog in this game. Go take it from those Auburn Tigers. Take it from their backyard and beat somebody you're not supposed to for the first time this year. I think they get it done. I'll be there. I hope you will be as well. Make the trip. Make a weekend road trip. Grab your friends. Grab your parents. Somebody. Get in the car and go. Tickets should be affordable. I'll be there covering it for Locked On Hoosiers. Go, man. It'll be a lot of fun. I know it's not an easy trip, but if you can make it happen, do it. It'll be a lot of fun. I think Indiana wins. I want to hear what you have to say. Drop your score predictions in the comments below if you're on YouTube. If you want to follow us on Twitter, on X, we would love to see and hear from you on there as well, at Locked On Hoosiers. Give us your score predictions there as well. And until next time, Hoosier fans, hey, be sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel on YouTube. It helps us out so much. Any of your podcasting platforms, we're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. If you can subscribe on there, do it. Turn on notifications everywhere. Be sure you go and check out the Locked On Sports Today YouTube channel. Give them a subscription as well. The 24/7 streaming channel for Locked On. They're doing a wonderful job, so subscribe to them as well. And hey, how about we drop a reaction video talking about this game? I hope we're talking about a win. I think we can be, and we'll have one go up this weekend, win or lose, for Indiana and Auburn in the Holiday Hoopsgiving. So until next time, Hoosier fans, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.